screen to get us started this morning to share with you where I was last week because it absolutely inspired the the broadcast this morning. And so I got the opportunity last week to travel around in northern Arizona and southern Utah. After I did a training in Las Vegas, I took advantage of being down there, and my best friend from North Carolina flew in, and we rented this really cool van, and we drove around and hiked our buns off. Basically, we went, so this is what you're looking at is the wave, and we went to Bryce and then to Zion. This is in the Vermilion Cliffs in northern Arizona. And what I found, we started laughing, I mean, a million times over the trip because we kept just saying, like, we've got to have another word for wow. We've got to create another word for wow. And we just would get tired of hearing ourselves say, like, what? And so we just started this thing where we'd go, what? How? When? This like understanding the geology of the area could tell the story, could tell the facts, but there was this magic that was surrounding us, whether it was the hoodoos in Bryce or Wall Street down the Narrows in Zion, or this just spectacular being of the wave. And it had me and still has me just with this sense of awe and really thinking about the neuroscience and the practice of awe and what that really is and what happens for us. And so today most of you know, we now have a podcast called Rewire. That will be the recording today, and it'll be published either later today or early tomorrow once I get it all done. But it's all on the science of awe. And so I wanted to just bring a little bit into this practice, and I'm going to leave this image up because for me it really speaks to the awe of what we were experiencing really for a week straight. And so, first I just think about, like, what is awe? What is that? And it's this mix of vastness, something that is so grand, something that is so magnificent, maybe so big, but could also be just tiny and magical. But this vastness and humility combined. It's this moment when, for me, it's when I stand before something, and like this image of the wave in Arizona that is so grand and so intricate and so beautiful and so explainable but unexplainable. And what it does from a neuroscience level is that it quiets that part, that me part of my brain, or that ego part of my brain, or what we call in neuroscience the self-referential processing part of my brain, where I'm judging and I'm categorizing and I'm comparing, and these natural parts that our universal default mode goes into, it's quieted in the moments of awe. And I remember saying over and over, I feel so tiny, both in time, in physicality, in what concerns me. We're talking millions of years right here at the touch of my hand. And it was magnificent. And so then after a week of that, I started asking myself the question of, like, how do I get more of this in my life? How do I create awe in the everyday? Because I'm not going to go there every day. I'm not a lizard. I can't live at the wave. And so how do I get more of that? And so that's really what the whole podcast will be on. And that's what our practice is going to focus on today. It's it's a 3-breath practice where we use it to widen and to wonder, which is really what the state of awe does for us. So let's get into it, if we will. So you can stare at the wave if you'd like. You can also close your eyes. You can take a soft gaze. And if you like, before we get fully into the practice, you can also visualize a place where you have experienced awe. And I'll just quiet down as you bring forth an image if that's what you'd like to do. And again, it could be a grand landscape, and it could be the tiny, teeny fingernails of a newborn, and it can be everything in between. And as you bring that to mind, also just allow your breath to sink into that moment. If you don't have a moment of awe that you're able to go back to, imagine, just imagine. Imagine what it would be like to stand in front of something so grand or so big or so tiny, so magical. And notice as you begin to imagine this or remember this experience, just notice what's happening for you physically or with your breath, what emotions might be present for you. Breathing. And just allowing whatever is there for you to be there. It might not be that it's a feeling necessarily of joy or magic. Maybe there's grief. Maybe there's loss. Just allow whatever's there to be there. And then we're going to begin our 3-breath practice. And I will also put it in the chat for those of you who follow better visually. And I'll walk us through it as well. So the purpose of this particular practice, again, is to widen and wonder. So we think about how much of our day-to-day is focused in the minutia, the codes, the emails, the grammar, the spelling, the math, the timelines, the calendars. So this practice is made to widen us, to wonder, to be curious. And so the first thing, and you can do this with your eyes closed or open. So on your first breath in and out, and I'll let you decide how fast and how deep that is, you're going to really purposefully soften your gaze and widen your view. So again, this could be in your imagination, it could be in a memory, or it can be with your eyes open in your space that you're currently in. And then with your second purposeful breath, name one vast thing. And it can be the sky, the concept of time, thinking about the human hands and energy that built the building you're in, something like the pyramids in Egypt, something vast, the Grand Canyon. And then on your third intentional breath, ask yourself what matters most from this wider view. What matters most as you move from a narrow focus to an expansive perspective? And while we do that, we're inviting our brain to move from problem thinking to possibilities, to opportunities, to what ifs, and how can I? Staying in this space of curiosity for just a moment longer. What's important from this perspective? What can I let go of? What can I leave here? What needs to come with me? What shifts? What do I need to remind myself of? Who am I here? And we're going to close that particular practice, that 3-breath practice. But before we close the entire practice, I want you to just consider, how can you bring more awe into your day today? Bringing your attention to your breath. Feel your breath going in and going out. Taking a moment before we walk out this mindful door to just honor that you showed up for this practice. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back together. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here.